All right, welcome everybody to a Town of Queensbury Town Board meeting. It is May 17th, 2021, and the time is 7:01 p.m. If you'll first on the agenda is a pledge of allegiance being led by Councilperson Harrison Freer. So if you all please rise and join Harrison in saying the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Before we begin the regular agenda, I'm going to go over some and highlight some of what we know about the Jenkinsville area and the study that is ongoing and will be ongoing for some time. So tonight, and June 7th, we're going to have a town board meeting where we're going to take a more specific look at the pros and cons of who should do the site characterization. Should it be the town or DEC? And there are pluses and minuses and pros and cons. We'll discuss those. And perhaps that evening, the town board will feel confident in coming to a decision after listening to the public and having the benefit of their thoughts on the matter of going forward with one or the other. But tonight, we do want to take a look at what role the town's going to play going forward with the assessment of the Jenkinsville area. And I certainly ask each town board member to, share their perspective of the matter. And on June 7th, I want the public to share their perspective of the matter. So a little background first. New York State Department of Environmental Conservation has asked the town whether it wishes to undertake the assessment, the remedial investigation, and feasibility study on its own, or whether it consents to DEC doing this work. What is certain right now is that an assessment, remedial investigation, and feasibility study will be performed, as it should be. The people of Jenkinsville and the town of Queensbury as a whole are entitled to factual answers. And before we get into this discussion, I would like to share the most up-to-date information we have from the Department of Environmental Conservation. 80 residential wells in the Jenkinsville area have been sampled. Results have been received on 77 of them. 3 results are pending. Originally, the state had identified 88 wells for sampling. 6 property owners did not respond to the multiple attempts to reach them. 2 did not accept the offer for sampling. We urge all residents who are contacted by DEC or DOH, Department of Health, to accept the offer of water sampling. Even if you've refused in the past, I urge you to let the DEC sample your water. Now, of the 77 wells that have been sampled, 18 wells had detections of 1,4-dioxane at levels the DEC said are at, near, or above 1 part per billion, the maximum contaminant level or drinking water standard. Of those 18 residences, all of those 18 residences are now receiving bottled water. There has been no detection of PFAS in the residential wells sample. The state has determined no further action is necessary on 50 of the 77 wells sampled. 9 residential wells will be restampled. Over the past few weeks, members of the board and I have researched this question, sought guidance from our technical and legal advisors, and had conversations with DEC. So we've approached this decision with 4 goals in mind. First and foremost, to protect the health of our residents and the environment. Second, work with all involved agencies to help assure that a safe, reliable, long-term drinking water solution happens as quickly as practically possible. Third, to ensure that a comprehensive assessment of the environmental conditions in the area is conducted, that sufficient, reliable data are collected and analyzed, and that our community has confidence in any decisions that may result. And to provide factual information to our community and ample opportunities for our residents to have their questions answered. We as a town board will make a final decision on this question only after we've had a chance to hear from the community. That opportunity will take place at our town board meeting Monday, June 7th, beginning at 7 p.m. here in the town hall. If you cannot attend the meeting or you wish to express a view, I hope you will send us an email with your thoughts. Our email addresses are listed on the town website at www.queensbury.net. While you are on the website, I hope you will see the Jenkinsville Environmental Assessment update that we have posted. We will continue to post information on this matter to keep our community informed. And so to the question, which government entity, the town or DEC, is best suited to conduct the environmental assessment? There are a few pieces of information I want to share from our discussions with DEC. First, I think that some have worried that the town of Queensbury conducts the assessment, there may be a conflict of interest. After all, the town owns the municipal landfill. DEC has made it clear to us that the entire assessment project would be closely overseen by the DEC. DEC would review and approve every step of the town's work to ensure the integrity of the assessment. And of course, all the town's work would be subject to public review as well. Some have asked how long this assessment will take. Our consultant, CT Mail Associates, estimates that if the town were to undertake the work, it would take 1.5 to 3 years to perform. DEC has advised us that it believes that if the state undertakes the work, it could take 3.5 years, perhaps longer. Some have asked about our cost. Our consultant, CT Mao, has offered a range of costs from $150,000 to $600,000, depending largely on what is found and what investigations are necessary to determine the source. DEC said it does not provide cost estimates. If the town landfill is ultimately determined to be the source of the 1,4-dioxane and DEC conducts the assessment, DEC will seek to recover its costs from the town of Queensbury. If the town landfill is not determined to be the source, the state could seek to recover the cost from other parties that are identified as responsible for the contaminant. If the town chooses to conduct the assessment and the remedial investigation, the feasibility study, it will be responsible for any expenses it incurs. And finally, the cost of whatever remedial steps are determined to be necessary to address the contamination would have to be borne by the responsible party or parties. Again, if the town landfill is determined to be the source, that would be the town. If not, the other parties might be held responsible. Even as we consider the question of which government entity should perform the assessment, the town is moving ahead with CT Mal to assess the options to get a safe, reliable, long-term drinking water solution in place for the Jenkinsville area. CT Mal is updating a 1990 study of what it would take to extend the town's existing water supply to the area. CT Mal is also evaluating potential groundwater sources, up gradient of the 4 landfills in the area. When CT Mal has that work ready, we will, of course, bring it to the community for discussion. So I will invite the town board, if you have any further thoughts other than my introduction. And we will have more thoughts and comment June 7th. Okay?
No,
Good.
Anything at this point?
I don't think so. You reviewed that
You
document.
covered it well.
Yeah, and it was reviewed with us, so we're on board. Well, at least I am.
Okay?
Did you check your car warranty there, John? Huh?
Frank Palangi's calling me. I can't take it. Sorry, Frank. Okay, then we'll move ahead with the regular agenda, keeping in mind that on June 7th, Monday, June 7th, here, we'll have a much more in-depth discussion of the pros and cons of moving forward. Shall we move forward with DEC doing the investigation, or DEC calls it site characterization, or have the town do a study with the DEC oversight? We'll look at the pros and cons and perhaps decide that evening. Okay. We have 3 resolutions as part of the Queensbury Board of Health to set public hearings. But first, we must move into the Queensbury Board of Health. Is there a motion to do so?
So moved.
Moved by Councilperson McNulty, seconded by Councilperson Perrone. All those in favor of moving into the Queensbury Board of Health, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. We're now on the Board of Health. So 1.1, please, Rose, if you'll inform the public.
So resolution setting a public hearing on sewage disposal variance application of Michael Chase, Dark Bay Lane LLC.
Okay. So Michael Chase is putting in a new septic system. The location is 40 Dark Bay Lane. And he is asking for 4 variances. And I will explain each variance. And this is to set a public hearing for June 7th, by the way. So we're not going to be dealing with this tonight, but I want the public to know what we're dealing with as we move to June 7th. 1, the leaching system be 65 feet from the proposed well in lieu of the required 100-foot setback. The second variance, leaching system retaining wall 73 feet from a neighboring well in lieu of the required 100-foot setback. 3, leaching system wall 9 foot from the property line in lieu of the required 10 foot with the retaining wall within 1.5 feet of the property line. And the last variance, the fourth variance, bottom of the leaching system 2 foot above the bedrock in lieu of the 3-foot requirement. So, and again, I've just given this a cursory review and see that the system's designed for 4, and the assessment office calls it a 5-bedroom place. So, again, we have another one of those we have to resolve. All right, but this is to set the public hearing for Monday, June 7th. Is there a motion to do so?
So moved.
All right, moved by Councilperson Perrone, seconded by Councilperson McNulty, a roll call vote on setting the public hearing on the sewage disposal variance application by Michael Chase of 40 Dark Bay Lane.
Councilperson Freer,
Yes.
Barone,
Yes.
McNulty,
Yes.
Stroud,
Yes.
and Medivir.
Yes.
All right. Passes with public hearing set for this application Monday, June 7th. All right, the next one, Rose, please.
So resolution setting a public hearing on sewage disposal variance application of Brett and Pamela West, 106 Bay Parkway Road.
Okay. Here's another one. Well, what they need is a variance for holding tanks. They would like to put holding tanks on this property. I like holding tanks because I know where it is and I know where it's not. But in any event, we'll have that discussion as we set the public hearing for this for Monday, June 7th. And again, the assessment says it's 6 bedrooms and the application design is for 4 bedrooms. We'll get an answer to that. All right. So this is a variance to allow them to put holding tanks. They wish to put 2 2,000-gallon holding tanks for a total of 4,000 gallons in capacity in lieu of the sewage disposal system. Okay, for 106 Bay Parkway Road, owned by Brett and Pamela West. Is there a motion to set the public hearing for Monday, June 7th on this application?
So.
All right, Councilperson Perone. Councilperson Harrison Freer. Seconded. Roll call vote on this, please, Rose.
Councilperson Barone,
Yes.
McNulty,
Yes.
Stroud,
Yes.
Medivir,
Yes.
and Freer.
Yes.
Okay, and the third application to set a public hearing for Monday, June 7th
So
is,
resolution setting a public hearing on sewage disposal variance application of Brett and Pamela West, West Point South LLC, 108 Bay Parkway Road.
all right, 108 Bay Parkway, a piece of property owned by Brett and Pamela West, and they wish to install holding tanks, 2 2,000-gallon septic holding tanks for a total of 4,000 gallons. And they say for a 4-bedroom house. And I understand that this is the existing residence has been torn down.
It has been, John. It's gone.
What's that?
It's gone. It was taken
So
away.
the new proposed house would be 4 bedrooms and they want to put holding tanks.
I just don't understand why they're doing holding tanks on a lot this large. I know you like them, but this makes no sense.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out the reasons for that if we set the public hearing for June 7th.
But yes, the house has been taken down.
All right, Councilperson Medivir makes the motion, seconded by Councilperson McNulty. Roll call vote on this.
Councilperson McNulty,
Yes.
Stroud,
Yes.
Medivir,
Yes.
Freer,
Yes.
and Barone.
Yes.
All right, and that's it for the Board of Health. So I would like to entertain a motion to move out of the Queensbury Board of Health, seeing as all business is done.
I'll move it.
All right, moved by Councilperson Perone, seconded by, I didn't catch it, Medivir. And roll call vote. No, not a roll call vote. All those in favor of disbanding the Queensbury Board of Health, please signify by saying aye or closing.
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. All right, now we have 3 public hearings. And so, Rose, would you introduce the first one?
This is a public hearing on 2021 Emergency Ambulance Service Agreement between the town and Bay Ridge Rescue Squad, Inc.
All right, each one of the proposals that you're going to see tonight is for 2021, this year. And it's a 5% increase over what we gave them in 2020. We dearly are thankful for all the volunteerism that the folks in our EMS squads and our fire departments do for us, for our greater community. They're all facing an issue with securing enough volunteerism. And in the EMS world, we're seeing a movement towards more and more paid service. We don't have the volunteers to cover Queensbury. Queensbury is a very dynamic town. We are probably economically speaking and population-wise, we are the most energetic town, if you will, in the county. And it has its challenges with the traffic, with the Great Escape, with the number of people that we have that shop here, and that's all good stuff. But it's numbers much more than the 28,000 population when you count all the visitors. And we love the visitors, but it also brings, demands on our systems. And EMS is one of them. They would have and they did. George worked with me on this. They need more than 5%. We heard that. But for this year, let's go with 5%. So that as a preamble to all three, we have 3 EMS squads, Bay Ridge, North Queensbury, and West Lens Falls, all with 5% increases, but we'll vote on them one at a time. So we have a public hearing on this as well, and we will vote after the public hearing. So Bay Ridge is proposed figure that we will give them for operating, paid service, debt, insurance is $548,295. So any thoughts before I open the public hearing from the town board members tonight?
Yeah, John, we've discussed this, understanding the impact the COVID had and other impacts on the town staff. I would have really much liked to have metrics installed for the 3 companies. All these comments apply to all 3. So we could, so they have an understanding of what we expect from the money we're paying. Understand that couldn't happen. We're in May now. The year's almost half over. But I do look forward to participating in the discussions to set some metrics for next year. And I really think the EMS coordinator position plays a role in this. And I'd like to look to commitment, and I know I think you support that we commit to talking about that between the now and the new budget for next year.
Yeah, I agree. And I think having someone from the outside, and I do have somebody in mind that's been recommended to me by folks from all 3 squads. So we'll see if this person can come and help us.
We might have to be a little bit more realistic with the hours that we want to pay this person based on the comments that I'm getting, but that's all part of the discussion.
We don't know what the hours will be.
Yeah. Well, okay, I agree.
I threw something out there just to get the conversation started, and people are tackling me on that. And I just wanted to get the conversation started.
Let's start.
Okay. Any other thoughts before I open the public hearing on this? All right, so I'm going to open the public hearing, and there are folks who are present, and I'll give them the opportunity to ask questions or share thoughts. And then we have Zoom, and then we have people on YouTube, and they can call in. Area code 518-761-8225. Do you have that up? Anyways, I got the full. So, all right, for the Bay Ridge and for the year 2021, George and I had up the discussions for EMS, and George would like to have the first meeting sometime in June, and I believe that Victoria's working on setting that up.
Actually, that meeting has now been set for Friday, July 2nd at, I think, 10:30 in the morning.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll probably set it up right here in an arrangement like this, and set it up Zoom too for those who can't make it. I
Right.
think Zoom has become a way of life now.
Right.
Okay. All right, thank you for that. Anybody here like to speak to the 2021 Emergency Ambulance Service Agreement being proposed for Bay Ridge Rescue Squad? All right, anybody on Zoom? You see anybody, Tim?
I do not. No one's raised their hand and there's no open questions.
All right, no call-ins? Frank didn't call back. All right, well, I had to.
Yeah, I know.
I know, Frank. All right, any further thoughts on behalf of the town board? I'll entertain a motion to approve the 2021 Emergency Ambulance Service Agreement with Bay Ridge for $548,295.
Close the public
I'll
hearing.
close the public hearing. Thank you.
I'll move it.
All right, moved by Councilperson Medevere, seconded by Councilperson Ferone. Roll call vote on that, please.
Councilperson Medevere.
Yes.
Freer.
Yes.
Barone.
Yes.
McNulty.
Yes.
And Stroud.
Yes. All right, next is for North Queensbury. Again, a 5% increase for a total of $358,356, which covers their debt service, paid staffing, operating expenses, insurance, and so forth. And same thing, I want to be very thankful to the volunteers up there and all they do for our community. Any thoughts want to be shared on the town board about North Q's proposed emergency ambulance service agreement?
No, John, I would just say that, in addition to the meetings you've had, I know the town board has been very involved with meeting with the squads. I know I had a meeting with Harrison at North Q. I had a meeting at West Glens Falls. I think, Tim, you had some meetings. So we're very in tune with what's going on and their needs, and looking forward to getting the discussions early this year. So in May next year, approving a contract for the year.
Okay. Anybody else? All right, thank you. All right, I'll open the public hearing. Anybody present? Anybody Zoom? Anybody watching YouTube? Call in. All right. Hearing no interest, I'll seek a resolution to approve the 2021 Emergency Ambulance Service Agreement between the town and North Queensbury Rescue Squad.
You need to close the public
I'll
hearing.
close the public hearing. You think I'd have that down,
Just a look.
I'll remind
huh?
you.
I do- yeah. Thank you. All right, a motion to approve? Motion made by Councilperson McNulty,
I'll say.
seconded by Councilperson Medevere. Roll call vote on this, please.
Councilperson Freer.
Yes.
Barone.
Yes.
McNulty.
Yes.
Stroud.
Yes.
And Medevere.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. And the third public hearing we have tonight is with the 2021 Emergency Ambulance Service Agreement between the town of Queensbury and West Glens Falls. And I read it instead of letting you do that, Rose. 5% increase. This is the busiest of the three squads. And the sum is a 5% increase over last year's 2020's, and for a total of $986,224. And they are very busy. And they would actually like to put on another cruise or crew. They're so busy, but it's very expensive. In any event, any thoughts before I open the public hearing?
Yeah, so I guess my thoughts are, John, I know that we're doing this 1 year at a time because we're trying to absorb the study and find ways to do this in a more modern fashion, and I totally support that. The in the longer term, it would be good to have a multi-year contract because that gives a little bit of stability, which is needed in this. But the training that these guys have and the other responsibilities and I'll say the market is driving us to look at this very carefully. And so I applaud your efforts with the study and George's follow-up. But this is a tough nut to crack for us when we, as you suggested, been reliant more and more on volunteer help. That it's just really tough in this market with all the training requirements to continue, in a linear fashion like we have been.
Yeah.
And that's the idea with starting in July is we're hoping that we have 6 months, not only to get a contract, but hopefully a multi-year agreement.
Good point.
The contract with the fire companies is multi-year now, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it is, and you're right, for all the reasons you just said. All right, I'll open the public hearing on the proposed ambulance services agreement between the town and West Glens Falls Emergency Squad for $986,224. Anybody present? Anybody on Zoom? YouTube, call in? All right, I'll close the public hearing. Entertain a motion to approve the contract.
So
Moved by Councilperson Brown, seconded by Councilperson Freer. Roll call vote, please, Rose.
Councilperson Perone,
yes,
McNulty,
Yes.
Stroud,
Yes.
Medivir,
Yes.
and Freer.
Yes.
Okay. Those are the public hearings. Now we go down to resolutions. We have 14 of them. I will go down through and explain the 14 resolutions. And then I'll give the public an opportunity to speak to any of the 14 resolutions you wish to speak to. If there is another town topic you wish to speak to the town board about, I will give you that opportunity. It will be towards the end of the meeting. But this portion of the meeting pertains to just the resolutions in front of us tonight, okay? So if it's other than what the resolutions speak to tonight, I will give you that opportunity, but it'll be after this. This pertains to just the resolutions. So 4.1, Rose, please.
So resolution requesting speed limit reduction for entire length of Moon Hill Road.
All right. We've gone through this before. We got rejected. The board wants us to try again. Hopefully there's been a change of move because Glen Lake Road is 30 miles an hour. And all of a sudden, you get to Oxbow Hill Road, where Moon Hill Road begins, and it changes to 40 for no particular reason that I can ascertain. And it's just as windy, just as hilly, just as inhabited by residents. And so we'll try again to see if we have another chance. And the chair of the Road Safety Committee, George Brown, there's another road, George, that you would like us to consider a speed reduction, and that's, I believe, Chestnut Ridge.
that's correct. Yeah.
So I thought I would be able to get that in someplace. I lost it in the mix, so I apologize. So I will have that for you on June 7th. Okay?
Thank you.
All right. 4.2.
Resolution authorizing award of bid for purchase of pickup truck for town water department.
All right. Award a bid of F-150 XL 2021. Go out and see if you can pick it up for this. $27,274 was the low bid.
John, does that come with an engine?
It comes, and I wish you
We
know,
could get that, right?
yeah. And this is to replace a 2009 Chevy Equinox SUV that has 91,524 miles on it. And we'll be putting that up to dock you have deals. And so that's for the vehicle. And then Chris Harrington, who is the superintendent of the water department, also would like $1,500 for ancillary equipment, the right lighting and everything else, and a toolbox, and because this is going to be a supervisor's truck. And they do have the other bids. This was the lowest bid, but the other bids weren't bad. $28,000 was the high. My gosh. All right. 4.3,
Resolution authorizing and ratifying engagement of BN Communications for provisions of professional public communications and community engagement services related to Jenkinsville area environmental assessment.
all right. So this is for professional service. I want the town board to also support. So what is this for? BN Communications. So it's to present recommendations on the establishment of public participation process. In other words, show the board how to effectively engage with the members of our community in the ongoing discussions with the Jenkinsville area study. Also, to help us prepare informational materials for our residents and property owners in the Jenkinsville area and throughout the community, to help us update and expand informational materials on our website, to help in developing an accessible and convenient town repository so that members of the public have easy access to these documents and any other information that pertains to this matter, and to help coordinate with the departments of environmental conservation and health and other parties to attend meetings and consult with town officials as requested. So that's what we're asking. BN Communications is $300 per hour. This is a limit of $9,500 for the initial phase of work. And as we get familiar with this task, we may ask him for something more comprehensive and longer term, but this is an agreement for now. 4.4,
Resolution authorizing appointment of Nicole Woodcock as Recreation Program Assistant.
all right, well, Steve Lovering and Lori O'Shaughnessy looked far and wide, and they got a winner. I met Nicole the other day, a very joyful, wonderful person who's an excellent fit. Lori O'Shaughnessy, who's been with us for decades and has a reputation for organizing and making things happen like few other have. Lori O'Shaughnessy's retiring. And everyone is sad to hear that news, but we need to work at filling in her position with other good people. And Nicole Woodcock, as Recreation Program Assistant, will help fill those empty spaces in. 4.5,
Resolution authorizing hiring of seasonal employees to work for Department of Parks and Recreation.
all right, this happens because these individuals that we're hiring for our summer work are related to other people that work in the town. Ryan Flansburgh is the son of Park and Recreation Senior Building Maintenance Mechanic James Flansburgh. Kaylin Harrington is the daughter of Water Superintendent Wastewater Director Chris Harrington. Lindsay Holcomb is the daughter of Highway Department employee John Holcomb. And Evan Lovering is the son of Park and Rec Director Stephen Lovering. They'll work on a part-time basis just for the season. And usually the town board doesn't deal with it unless it's a situation of nepotism where we want to make that publicly known and we have to approve it. 4.6.
Resolution requesting rescinding of NYS fiber right-of-way.
All right, this comes up every time we talk about getting broadband to the North Country. It keeps asking the question. So we talked to some of the broadband people, and they said, well, listen, it's expensive bringing it in to these rural areas. Already expensive. And you don't have a huge market that helps support it. And then you want to tax this? Yeah, so in any state right away, if their fiber optic lines go in there, they have to pay a tax. And as you go northward, a lot of that property is state owned. So, you have the forest reserve and everything else. So now you're making it almost prohibitive to bring broadband up north. You're adding another expense. Do you really need to have this expense? If your goal is to bring broadband to the rural areas, why are we taxing them when they go over state property? All right. So this is a proclamation asking them to rescind the New York State fiber right-of-way fee. 4.7.
Resolution to amend 2021 town budget.
All right, moving out of contingency to guess where? Gasoline. Gasoline prices have dropped significantly. 4.8.
Resolution authorizing establishment of public hearing date for obtaining citizen input for 2021 application to New York State Office of Community Renewal Community Development Block Grant, CDBG program.
All right, 4.8, 4.9, and 4.10 go together. Let me explain. Well, let Stu Baker explain. He's the one that's putting this together, our senior planner, Stu Baker. He gave us some notes. Montcalm Apartments. They're owned by an outfit called Liberty Affordable Housing. And they are affordable housing. They have, over there in Montcalm Apartments, they used to be called John Burke Apartments. There's 227 units. 99% of them are filled by families with incomes below the 80% area median income. So they're for low-income housing. They have a on-site septic system that has been a problem for years. Neighbors have complained about the smells and everything else because they're treating the sewage on site. They would love to tie into the municipal system. All right. Chris Harrington, who is the director of wastewater in the town of Queensbury, as well as the superintendent of water, as I mentioned, said that he thinks if they put a line in on the fence line between, for the most part, it's a state-owned thruway and the school property, we could directional drill, go under the Northway and tie into a pump station we have on Weeks Road, which is tied into the Route 9 municipal septic system. Montcalm's willing to pay for everything. Can you get a grant for this? Yeah, you can. You need to apply for it. And so the resolutions that we're seeing are to apply for a grant, to look at the design of this potential system, and that they will put money in escrow to cover any and all aspects of making the sewer happen. They will even pay for the infrastructure. They'll pay for everything and then hand it over to the town. It has to be built in accord with our standards. We've talked to the school. The school might be interested in tying in. The set of apartments over there, I don't know what they're called now, but they can't expand any further without a municipal system. So perhaps they could tie in too. So in January of 2021, Pat Morris of CRM reached out to me, this is Stu Baker talking, to discuss funding opportunities to address their failing on-site septic system. So after their own engineering review and discussions with myself, Chris Harrington, CRM has come to the conclusion that the most cost-effective solution for them would be to connect the property to the town sewer system. This solution would require installation of and connection to a sewer force main on Burke Drive. This force main would continue north and under Aviation Road, continuing north along the Union Free School District property, and then extending east under the Northway to Weeks Road. So Supervisor Stroud, Chris Harrington, and I are in ongoing discussions with the school district about acquiring an easement for this project and to see if there's any interest on their behalf to tie in someday. So as a project necessary to sustain an important affordable housing development, construction of the proposed sewer is eligible for community development block grant funding. New York State just released a CDBG, Community Development Block Grant, notice of funding available as part of the recently announced consolidated funding application. So there may be other funding sources available to support the construction costs, and those too will be pursued. CRM, which is the company that wants to put this in for Montcalm Apartments, will pay us for all the engineering service, for all the grant writing services, and so forth. So we have 3 resolutions tonight. 4.8, we just mentioned, is to set a public hearing for the community development block grant application. So we'll get from the public what they think of the project and do they think the town should apply for this grant. 4.9 authorizes the escrow agreement. In other words, we'll take their money to cover our costs in this escrow agreement. They will pay the full cost of everything involved. And Resolution 410 authorizes the engagement of Chase & Companies to begin the engineering and grant writing services. And I'll get into that in a little bit more detail. So again, this is 4.8, which is authorizing establishment of public hearing date for obtaining citizen input for a community block grant application. All right. 4.9, same topic, is authorizing the escrow. I'm sorry, Rose, but and so for the escrow, the engineering at this point is $19,540. The grant writing is proposed $6,000. Chasen's proposals for a total of $25,540. And sorry, Rose, I'll let you do 410.
Resolution authorizing engagement of the Chazen Companies to provide engineering and grant writing services.
All right, so, and this is authorizing the engagement of Jason to do the engineering and grant writing services for the project I'm talking about, which we will get reimbursed for. And like I said, it not only would be good for Montcalm, it might be good for the school, it might be good for other entities in that area. And I think we should design this so that it can accommodate others. 411, please.
Resolution authorizing intermunicipal agreement between Warren County and the town of Queensbury relating to solid waste and recycling disposal services, WC 6120, and solid waste and recycling transportation services, WC 6620.
All right, we had this before us before. It needed a little fine tuning by our attorneys. They're happy with what's being in front of the town board today. And again, the county does our bidding for us for the solid waste recycling transportation services, and they establish the low bid, and we piggyback off of that. This is an agreement to just pursue that. 412.
Resolution approving audit of bills warrant of 5/18/2021.
Okay. So with a run date of 5/13 and a payment date of 5/18, totaling $1,194,477.82. 413.
Resolution authorizing acceptance of proposal and cost decrease for purchase and construction of storage building at Pineview Cemetery by Blue Scope Construction, Inc.
Well, we had another one that we approved, but it exceeded the 500,000. They had one for $509,146. That exceeded the amount that's allocated for which law? Now, Wick's law basically says, and there's probably a reason, I don't know what it is, but the subcontractors of a project for our county, for example, anything that exceeds $500,000, $500,000, the subcontractors have to bid on the subcontracting work, like the electrical, plumbing, HVAC. If it's below 500,000, you don't have to do that. The GC or the general contractor does all that. But the threshold is 500,000. Now, that's not true of all the counties in New York. Westchester, I think, and other counties, it's $1.5 million. New York City, it's $2.5 million. But for those counties that weren't given the exception, and why were they given the exception? Probably because they're larger counties, I don't know. But for the rest of it, it's $500,000. Okay. So that bid, $509,000, means that we had to go out to bid because it exceeded $500,000. We had to go out to bid for the subcontracting work. The entity that's working with us, Blue Scope Construction, in accordance with Sourcewell, said it's not worth it. We'll shave, almost $10,000 off the project, get it below 500,000. We'll bite the bullet. We just want to start the project and get it done. So this is a proposal for $499,307. Okay, we're getting the same project done for less money. But still, we should get town board approval because it is a change from what it was proposed. So that's resolution 413 to build the storage building and maintenance building at the Pineview Cemetery for the cemetery for a total of $499,307. 414, please, Rose.
Resolution authorizing advertisement of bids for storage building for Town Highway Department to be located on Big Bay Road.
All right. So the highway building on Big Bay Road, a lot of people don't know that. We have a building, we have a trailer. It's decades old and it's disgusting on Big Bay Road. We have salt there. We have storage of equipment there. We work on repairs there. And all we have is this rundown trailer, and we need something better for the highway services for that side of town. This is off of Big Bay Road. You know where Curtis Lumber is? Down the road a little farther. And that project, that building entails, even though it's the same size as the cemetery building, involves a little bit more, bringing the utilities with it. He has big drive-through doors for the front end loader that they want to store there. The front end loader is kept outside in the winter. It shouldn't be. Piece of equipment, $250,000. So we will now protect it. We'll have a place to work on it. And there was to be a bathroom in there, where in the cemetery there isn't a bathroom. So this is coming to, I think it was 528 or something, wasn't it? All right, well, that exceeds the $500,000. So that means for the plumbing, electrical, and HVAC, we got to go out to bid if the town board approves this. So this is authorizing the advertisement of bids for the storage equipment building, whatever you want to call it, for the town highway department to be located on Big Bay Road. So if that board approves it. Those are the 14 resolutions before the board. Anybody wish to share thoughts on any of the 14 resolutions with the town board present on any of the 14 resolutions? Zoom? YouTube? Oh, chat. We got a chat.
That was from
The
Stu.
resolution to apply. Oh, this is from Stu.
That was from
Stu
Stu.
Baker.
Yeah.
will be considered by the floor after the public hearing, June 7th. So maybe I didn't make that clear. You wanted me to make that clear.
I think it was just a note.
That's the only one I see. Tim, did I miss anybody?
Nope, I was anything else, yeah.
Stu says he's on call if we need him. All right, YouTube, any call-ins? The phone number's on the screen, right, Joe? All right, I don't see any public input or desire by the public to have any input on the 14 resolutions. Town board, thoughts? Anything on the 14 resolutions before us, Harrison?
So, yeah, the speeding, we know speeding is a big problem. I'm not sure lowering the speed limit is the right answer, but we'll see what happens. There is some new modern literature out there that says this 85 percentile of what people speed applies for cities, but it's not really germane to more rural things. So we'll see if people will consider that. I don't see it as a panacea. I'm a little worried that it might be a slippery slope because then everybody in the neighborhoods will want their speed limits reduced. But we'll see what happens with it. I'm going to vote for it, but I worry that we're going to see a deluge of this, and is that the right place for us to be spending our energy?
Your worries are well founded.
That's
True.
all
It's true. We do worry about that. We got shut down. We applied for it. Tony, when did we apply for this before? 2015, was it?
Yeah, I think so.
2016,
Yeah.
someplace around there. We got shut down. Chestnut Ridge, though, it's a narrow road, and I take it all the time because my daughter lives at the end of it, right around the bend on County Line Road. So it's a very pretty scenic road. I don't go past 30. I mean, you can't. I mean, it's so narrow and
So it's motorcycle drivers. That's the problem.
well, even on my motorcycle.
Kidding.
I was on it yesterday and I couldn't believe how fast somebody was going. I was like, it was really an eye opener for me to see that. It's 2:00 in the afternoon.
You don't feel, if you're going more than 30, it doesn't feel safe to be
Yeah,
going more
no,
than
I know, but this guy was just flying.
And if you have two cars going in opposite directions on that
It's
road,
twice
it's
as
not
fast.
a very wide road, as
Right,
John
right.
said. So it can get dicey if you're going too fast.
Well, my philosophy on lowering speed limits, it just doesn't work.
Well, that's
I'm
kind of
with
why I
you.
brought it up. I just wanted to go on the record of having some, we can try it, but let's not kid ourselves that it's going to, be a panacea.
George and I took a little mini course in it, and you're right. You are right. People will tend to go the speed limit they feel comfortable with.
Right. Which
And
is never the
5%
posted
will
speed limit.
never adhere to the speed limit.
Right.
It's just,
Well, I keep telling the story. I mean, we have two roads in this town that are 25-mile-an-hour roads, which not supposed to have, but we do. Can't lower the speed limit because once the state finds out that they're 25, they're going to make us increase them to 30. So let's
30.
not go there. But how many years ago when we put that speed trap, not the trap, the device there on Cleverdale Road,
the portable
the
radar.
guy did 104 miles an hour in a 25-mile-an-hour.
That's another thing too. We have that traveling signpost. You can pull it in the back of a truck, tie it up, and it's so we can put that on roads. No, I don't know if the battery needs to be replaced, but it was working last time I knew.
And George's data shows that where we have put those speed control devices, that the average speed has dropped by 10%. They're still speeding, but they're 10 miles an hour less than they were before. So those type of signs do show that the public is aware. I talked to Dave Dool about traffic bumps and traffic, what's the other word? Humps. And
the superintendent's not really happy with those because of the impact of the snow and such, of course.
Well, and the other one is the fire and EMS guys don't like those bumps, right? They don't want to be trying to get around and going over, so they'll push back on that too. I think there's some state laws about it.
Well, the city has a couple of them on Fire Road.
Yeah.
And so some people point out, well, the city's got 20 miles. The city's allowed to do that. There is a different set of rules for cities. There's a different set of rules for towns. Towns are only allowed to go down to 30.
Right.
Unless it's for a school. For a school system, you can go lower. But, all right. Anything else? Yes.
I've got on 4.3 the BM communications. I think we've all got some inquiries from residents in terms of why the need. I'd just like to reiterate, when Jenkinsville first started, some of the initial press was not correct or accurate. It talked to the Queensbury dump landfill as opposed to the other three that might have contributed. The discussion with the state was not accurate as well. So as you explained, trying to get a more impartial, factual representation to the people of Queensbury, I think it is within our purview to do that. I was going to talk to you before and I didn't, but at the county level, they've got the director of public affairs and his staff who does that kind of work for the county. And I'm sure at a budget much larger than we're talking about to support this contract with Being Communications. So the intent and for the public is we want to get the right word out. We want to do it in a way which is understandable, and also get the feedback from the public without hiring an entire new staff for the town. So this is, I think it's a win-win for the town and also for the people that they're going to get that kind of public affairs without paying for a whole department.
No, I'm glad you brought that up. That's right. I mean, we're set up to do the routine activities, and we do a lot of them, and people enjoy the quality of life in the town of Queensbury and the services that we provide. But we're 100% out straight with just those, let alone some huge project that deserves a lot of attention, deserves the information exchange. And we don't have, like you said, an internal director to help us with that. And so Mark Bean is a very good choice for doing that. Any of the other thoughts on any of the resolutions, guys? All right. I'll entertain a motion to approve resolutions 4.1 through 414.
So moved.
Moved by Councilperson Freer, seconded by Councilperson McNulty. Roll call vote on resolutions 4.1 through 414, please, Rose.
Councilperson McNulty,
Yes.
Stroud,
Yeah.
Medevere,
Yes.
Freer,
Yes.
and Ferone.
Yes.
Any correspondence, Rose?
Yes, I have the supervisor's report for community development and building and codes for the month of April on file in the clerk's office.
All right, thank you. All right, privilege of the floor. Anybody who is present or on Zoom or on YouTube has a thought they'd like to share with the town board, this is your opportunity to do it. Any town topic. All right, so let's start internally first. Anybody present? All right, you got one hand. Noel, unmute yourself and share your thought. Noel Harding.
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we hear you. No, fine.
Okay, good. So in our communication from BN Communications, it says that the town board is going to have 2 public meetings to discuss the Jenkinsville issue, and that they will discuss the town's potential role in the environmental assessment town board meeting on Monday, May 17th. All I've heard this evening are statements from Supervisor Stroud. I have not heard any discussion. Are we going
Well, the real discussion, and let me point out that you're allowed to discuss anytime you want. I give you that opportunity. But I thought we would have the focus discussion on June 7th, right at the beginning of the meeting. And the topic will be, who does the site characterization or the investigation, as we would probably rather call it. Do you want DEC or you want the town? So if DEC does it, it was with the town watching them and trying to guide them, into areas that, they should assess the other landfills that are in the area, for example. Or does DEC do, or does the town do it with DEC overview? We'll discuss that more on June 7th, but if there's anything you would like to discuss, you're welcome to discuss it right now if you want.
No, I was just understanding from Ian's communication that there was going to be discussion about it this evening. If the discussion is going to happen on June 7th, then that's fine. But my expectation was that there was going to be discussion.
All right. Well, now I really think it's June 7th. A little miscommunication there, although we're always welcome to discuss it at any meeting.
John, if I may?
Yes.
No, this is Tim McNulty. I understood that at that part of the introduction where you read the statement and you asked for our comments, we did open that for discussion from the public as well. Maybe that wasn't clear, but that was, at least from my read, that was part of the intent of that, having the first couple of minutes of our meeting to discuss that. So I'm not sure if it was, I thought that was the public chance for input. And if you didn't know, I apologize for that. But that was a discussion. We've all participated in the review of that document through email. So we were aware of what was going to be discussed and had some input to it as well. But it was not intended to limit discussion. I thought that was going to be the opening discussion. And quite honestly, I thought some of the people here in the audience were prepared to bring it up at that time. So I think the original discussion of having, and this is redundant, of two discussions, that was the time to participate. Well, like John said, we can always talk about it at the term of any of our meetings, and then followed up with the June 7th full discussion. So if that was misstrued, I'll apologize, but I thought it was a little bit clearer.
All right. And
That's okay. I appreciate that. I guess what I was thinking was that we would hear some discussion amongst the town board members about their views on this.
well, I for one, I'll speak for myself. I want to hear from the public first. I shared with you what I knew and some of the pros and cons, but I want to hear from you, and I'm expecting to hear from you on June 7th, okay? No?
I'm good for that.
All right. Anything else? No?
Oh, that's it.
Okay. Anybody else? Any call-ins on YouTube? Any town topic? I don't notice anything new on the chat. Do you, Tim?
Nope.
No more little blue hands up. All right. Let's go to town board discussions. Tim, why don't we start with you?
Okay, thanks, John. Keeping with my new theme, my plug for a Fourth Ward employee today is MT Returnables on the corner of Ohio and Luzerne Road. They closed last year because of the untimely death of the owner, Rob. After many, many months of back and forth, Jade, his daughter, was able to work with her customers, do a GoFundMe page. And she fought with the banks. She won through the GoFundMe page, and they're back up in business. Hours are Monday to Thursday, 10 to 5, and Saturday, 9 to 4. She was greatly appreciative of her customers coming to her aid, and they're there to support the community by taking those recyclables from you. So that's my plug there. I had a meeting with the West Glens Falls Volunteer Fire Department last week. We talked earlier about volunteer issues and such. It was very well attended. They had over 30 people attend. The president says that they're in good straits right now, but there's some issues on retention that they mentioned to me, and I'll be bringing them up to the staff to talk about that. But I did tell them on behalf of the board members, and you, Supervisor Stroud, that we greatly appreciate all their efforts to the community, and that we are here as much to support them as they are here to support us. So that was a very good meeting. And last, I'm going to bring this up, I'll open it for discussion. I appreciate your sending out those emails on the current Fowler Square discussion in terms of the tax abatement and their request. Based on my read and some additional topics, discussions I had with some other individuals, I see the current position for the town as the assessor has said that they'll allow partial easements or partial abatement of taxes. I spoke with town council on that. He is, and I want to get this, his concern is that the assessor's position right now is not legally supported. Now, admittedly, this is not a town board issue at this time. It's got to go through the process, and I'm still learning what that process is. However, I made the analogy that we see a light coming. We're in a tunnel. We know the light's a train, and if we don't do something, we're going to get run over by the train. I don't know what kind of voice we have with the assessor. I know there's an independent activity, as it should be. But if the position she's taking is going to cause the town to lose as it goes on, we face legal fees, possible tax refunds, and then interest payments as well. And I think we should have a voice in that if council says we're going to lose and we go forward with that. And Bob, I don't know if you want to add anything. You and I did not discuss it. I discussed this with Mark, but I just wanted to get it on the record that I think we're holding a losing hand on this, and you don't want to continue to bet on a losing hand. Any comments, Bob?
My comments would have been that this was a topic for attorney-client privilege meeting, not for this time.
Okay, well, that's not what Mark told me, but okay.
I have nothing further to say.
Okay, well, I just threw that out there, and that's all I got, John.
What Tim's talking about is Fowler Square, the big project across the street. You're looking at it. There's 144 apartments, and the thinking was that apartments in Queensbury don't need a tax abatement to encourage them. You build them, they fill them as fast as you can build them. So what kind of a tax abatement do you really need? But if tax abatements are to encourage something that would not have occurred otherwise, right? Then do apartments in Queensbury need a tax abatement to encourage them? All right. But Fowler Square is a PUD, kind of a unique thing, and it does include some commercial. So there's this discussion of the tax abatement didn't go to just residential, it went to an entity that was more complex than that. So anyhow, the debate goes on.
And I see the light. I don't want to get hit by the train.
Anything else, Tim?
Just the governor's announcement in terms of maybe it's okay to be without masks as of Wednesday. I think, and I don't know if you were going to discuss it as we get to more open meetings, maybe we can start putting the chairs together and having more people come be able to attend our meetings. It's very ambiguous, the guidance issue again, but I think things are turning around. I know the county put out something today about offices. They don't have to wear masks. They don't have to worry about the social distancing, providing that people are vaccinated. Not sure how we'd handle that, but I think it's time to, as you've been saying all along, a gradual opening. I think we're ready to go to the next level,
Yeah,
whatever that is.
right. George? Thank you, Tim.
He's a hard act to follow. I really don't have anything specific other than to speak a little bit about, you know, the issues that we're dealing with for the folks over in Jenkinsville. You know, it's the challenges I think for this board has been consuming all of the information that we're being presented so that we can make the appropriate decisions. And there's a lot of emails and a lot of information, and just want the folks out there to know that we're doing everything we can, you know, from collecting all this information. And then, you know, through workshops and next meeting, you know, we'll have all that information to discuss and make the appropriate decisions. So I know many hours of my days have been spent just keeping up with all those emails.
And it's the individual research too, because we're all looking at different websites as well. So
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and before I answer one email, I have 5 more that came in.
Right.
It's tough. Right, okay, anything else, George?
No, that's it.
All right, thank you, Harrison.
So I'm still looking for short-term rental volunteers to look at it, a citizen advisory organization, spend the summer discussing if we need to make any changes to our current short-term rental law. Interestingly, Bolton Landing had short-term rentals on their agenda last week, and it was in the paper or there was an article about it. They didn't pass theirs. So right now, the city is looking at their passing a short-term rental law. Bolton had some interesting points in theirs that the lawyer summarized. I'd like to get that out for, you know, broad consumption and get input so that we can make sure that we stay abreast of what's going on in that world. So I'm looking for 1, 2, or 3 citizen volunteers, hopefully a couple people who have short-term rentals or a stake in that end, so that we can balance what the town does in that regard. So if you are out there and care about short-term rentals or are interested, please contact me and I'll get you some more information. Secondly, Lake George, the town of Lake George, the town and village of Lake George has a pretty good climate action plan. We're being nudged to get that on our plate eventually, and so interested in trying to figure out how to do that. I read through their 41-page climate action plan. It was a little bit too much detail for a lot of things, but somewhere that's got to tie into our update of our comprehensive land use plan, in my opinion. But I just bring that up to let folks be aware that we realize that we have to think about climate resiliency and sustainability in future kind of projects and development. And that goes into the meeting or the thing that you and I attended down on Broad Street with the affordable housing folks a couple weeks ago. I've had some follow-up on that topic. Those guys were awarded their lead gold standard as a environmentally friendly kind of operation, and there's some interest in poking around in Queensbury for a similar type project. But that's at the beginning stages, and there's some follow-up. Catherine Atherton is interested in continuing to advocate for the affordable housing that, the strategy that you guys did year before last. And then I have some thoughts about Jenkinsville, but I think I like you don't want to jump to any conclusions until we hear what other people think. But we have been back and forth and looking for making sure we get the facts out there. And I look forward to moving on this quickly once we get the input from the community. And then finally, I want to thank Dave Duell and the staff for putting together the 284 agreement. on what roads we're planning on repairing this year. That's as you guys know, something that we kind of let slip. And it's nice to get some knowledge about what the plan is and for us to sign off on it. I think it's a good process. And I now have some, I'll say, roads in Ward 2 that I'm going to be advocating a little bit stronger next year, now that we have a visibility to that process and that we're all on board looking, forward in a balanced fashion. So that's it for me. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Harrison. Tony?
I'm not going to add much on Jenkinsville, except that, we were criticized for having discussions, about Jenkinsville, and we had discussions about Jenkinsville, and we will continue to.
Well, we had discussions with DEC, not necessarily amongst ourselves, so whoever drew the conclusion, was not entirely accurate.
That's
We had
correct.
discussions with the CT Mount, John Muncie, about what are we talking about? I didn't know 1,4-dioxane didn't mean anything to me until now I know. But that's only because other people informed us, so that we become more informed and our decisions become more informed. And the only way you can do that is ask questions of other
Right.
people who might know
Right.
the answers.
And that was really my point, that, we have absolutely positively done nothing wrong here. And I think that, again, I can't stress enough how this board has come together and really stepped up, and with Mr. Bean and Mr. Muncie, and it's a great team doing all the right things. So I don't know why we get criticized for it. I mean, we are doing our job. Wanted to touch on masks. It'll be interesting to see how well we all get along. I want to, just remind everybody, we all have our beliefs, our opinions, and respect each other for that. And if you want to wear your mask, have at it. If you don't want to wear your mask, you don't have to. And I just hope that we can all just come to an agreement that what you choose to do is your business. And vaccines are not part of HIPAA. I've done my research there. So when people use the HIPAA card, they can't. As far as what I understand, but we'll see. And finally, getting an awful lot of calls, complaints about roads, speeding, signs, speed bumps. How long have we been doing this, John? What are we on? 14 years now or something crazy like that?
Well, for me, not counting the planning board, it's going on 18 years.
Yeah. So honestly, I've had more calls in the last 5 months than I have in the other 13 years I've done this. I don't know what the deal is, but folks are getting really ornery. And, I have to remind them, as we have these conversations, that they're not the only problem in town. We have tons of problems. I commend Dave Duell and his gang for everything that they do, but they too, it would be a full-time job just to try to keep Dave up to speed on all of the issues we have with roads and speeding and all that. There's no easy answer. Speed limits are not the answer, but if it gives people that sense of security, that's fine. But speed bumps are definitely not the answer. So I don't know what is, although I do like the fact we spent some money on those speed signs, and I do think that they do help. I would like to see some moved.
Well, and we're one of the municipal leaders in terms of environmental protections.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the very nice op-ed piece in the Times Union or not.
I did see that very nice piece. Very, very well written too. So no, I just, people just have a little bit of patience with us. We are going through an awful lot right now. And I just get the sense that, I don't know, maybe I don't know, it's been a lot to deal with. And just please be patient with us, and we'll be patient with you. That's all I can do. probably it for me.
All right. I'll check my folder. I did bring it tonight, but first of all, one of the days that is perhaps the most important day of the year is Memorial Day. This year it's May 31st. And the purpose of Memorial Day is to bring attention to people's minds because everyone's busy from day to day. But there are people who died for our cause, our way of life, our freedoms, our quality of life. They gave the ultimate. Every day should be Memorial Day. I get that, and I know that. But the reminder that every day should be Memorial Day is going to be May 31st. And we are going to have a parade. So I put together a COVID plan. I will put together with my health committee a press release. Tim McNulty has recently joined the committee. And so we will have the press release. We did have an essay contest in the Glens Falls and Queensbury schools, and we have those winners. We had a poster contest. The posters are being printed up as we speak. So I will ask you guys to help distribute the posters, and all the posters say the COVID protocol must be abided by, and that is wearing masks and social distancing. Now, what's come into making this complicated are people are going to say, well, what the governor just said. But I don't know who has had their shots. I certainly have to stress that if you haven't gotten your shots, to get your shots. There's no reason for you not to get your shots. And not only do you protect yourself, but you protect other people. So you don't do it for yourself only. You do it for everybody. Get your shots. In any event, we're going to have a parade. I'm going to ask the people to be cognizant of the COVID protocols that we're disseminating, that are part of the public release, the news release that everyone will see shortly. Well, we are going to have a Memorial Day parade this year. All right. The other thing is the Park and Rec Department put out a new flyer on the Halfway Brook Trail. And I was just talking to Mayor Hall, and the city helped this to happen, that we need to have some kind of a grand opening, a ribbon cutting. But the Park and Recreation put together a very nice brochure explaining the map and everything else, showing how the trails tied in with the other trails and everything else. They did a great job, as Park and Rec always does a great job, very professional.
The following program is underwritten by the generous support of Associates of Glens Falls and Loomis and Lipan Insurance. Since 1852, they have been assisting both businesses and individuals across the country secure the most comprehensive insurance products available. Associates of Glens Falls is proud to partner with Central Insurance Companies. Public affairs programming on Look TV is underwritten by the generous support of Pinnell's Restaurant, classic Italian American food since 1922, and Stored Tech, technology solutions for computers, networks, and phone. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
1922, Babe Ruth debuts with the Yankees. WGY signs on air. Exterminator wins the Saratoga Cup, and Pinnell's Restaurant opens its doors for the very first time. For 5 generations, Pinnell's has been preparing delicious Italian food, served in a comfortable, home-like setting where everyone is welcome. 90 years of authentic Italian recipes, 90 years of the freshest ingredients, and 90 years of the finest classic Italian dishes, all made daily by hand. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga dining tradition since 1922.
Most cybersecurity firms deal only with prevention, the systems that block hackers and viruses. Stored Tech knows the root cause is actually good people doing bad things. So we offer a security training program which includes certifying all participants to show they understand the basics.
Technology solutions for computers, networks, and phones. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.